Hello again, everybody. Today, I wanted to take a minute to look a little more deeply into masks, talk about select and mask and what to do to make the edges of your selections really crisp and well defined. For example, we'll look at this image here. This is the image I'm going to work on, and we're going to cut her out and place her on this blue background. So let's get started. I will upload this file to Blackboard where you can download and follow along with this demo if you like. First, I'll choose File, Open, O6 Start. We talked a little about masks before, but I wanted to revisit them and kind of stress the non-destructive nature of masks. You can place and remove elements into your images without having to delete or rearrange, without having to make any actual deletions. The book gives a tip that says Photoshop masks work similarly to applying masking tape to window panes or wall trim before you paint a house. The paint won't appear on masked areas. So let's get to work on this image and see how that goes. We have this file open and we want to cut her out and put her on another background. We'll make sure that both layers are visible, and we'll come to the top and choose Select, Select and Mask. Then we enter this specialized Select and Mask window with a new Properties panel. We have the overlay view on here, but we can also look at the image in a variety of different ways that will all help us to refine our selections. Nothing is really visible now because we haven't made a selection. So let's have the overlay layer on, and I'll just come up here to the top in Tool Options and choose Select Subject. And Select Subject uses Photoshop's AI to figure out what the subject is and how to select them out of a background. Select Subject is a good place to start, but we can see that it missed some areas along her chest here, and then in her hair a little bit. So let's zoom in and have a look at that. I'll hit Command plus and then hold down the space bar to get the pan tool with the hand and come on down here. You can see how the selection mask overlaps her shirt here. To fix this, let's choose the Quick Selection tool, which is over here on the left-hand side at the top of that menu. We'll look at the tool options and make our brush 15 pixels. And drag this tool over the areas that were missed. Don't get over here into the background, but stay on the part that you want to be selected. You can see it's selected just a little too much here with this triangle, so I'm going to hit the Option key to make this, subtract this part from the selection, and just use this brush here now. There we go. Okay, that looks much better. Now let's change the view so we can see how this would look on the layers. I'll choose Command 0 to bring her back onto the screen. Come over to the right and look at the View menu and choose On Layers. And on Layers, we can see that Select Subject did a pretty good job of masking around our subject. Let's take a look real close and see how this looks up close. You see how the Select Subject tool really did a pretty solid job of getting the edges in here. Still a little bit iffy on this one here, but we can fix that. And then there's some areas up here in the hair that we'll look at next. So right here in the hair, we have like a gap where you can see through the hair that the Select Subject didn't get. You can see here it removed the background in this loop of hair right here. So in order to fix this, we can use the Refine Edge brush tool. The Refine Edge brush tool is right here. And in this case, we're going to choose a brush with a 20 pixel size and a hardness of 100%. And now we'll come over into our hair gap here and click and drag the brush on down this way. And we can see it remove that part of the background and make it transparent through the hair. And I'll just drag this over all of these edges here. See it clean those up a little bit. So we've masked out some of these stray hairs here and cleaned up this edge a bit. You can also use the refine hair button, which is a way to sort of automate that initial hair selection within your mask. Let's bring this back into the screen. I'll choose Command 0 and we'll look at it on black and white to get a better look at the edges that we've left. So here we can see some of the stray hairs that are left in the image. I'll press Command plus to zoom in. And so what I want to do here is remove some of these hairs, mask out some of these stray hair here. So in this case, I don't want the plus to be active. I want to remove from the mask. So I'll hold down the Option key on my Mac to make a minus, and I'll just swipe the brush over these hairs here. There, I think that'll do. Get a look at her on layers again. Command 0. That looks nice. Now we can make some global refinements to further kind of clean up these edges. Let's zoom in a bit to see what we're doing. I'll press Command plus a couple of times so we can see the edges here. In this case, let's see if we can smooth the edges to kind of remove some of the jagginess in there. And you can see how it changes as I move the smooth key. That's 0. We'll go up to 10. We don't want to feather this because then, as you can see, it starts to create this halo. Bump up the contrast a little bit to sharpen the transitions. Here's maximum contrast and 0 contrast. Bump that up to about 20% to make the edge a little neater. And we're going to shift the edge of the selection slightly inside of the selected portion, which is sort of towards the subject in this case. What that'll do is eliminate some of this mixed sort of halo that she has, where it's mixing up the pixels that make up the edge of her face with the background. So here under the Shift Edge menu option, I'll drag the slider a little bit to see how that affects the edge of the selection. You can see it moving in and out, and then it moves further away. So in this case, I'll just do it a little bit, like -15. You can experiment with these options to see how you think it looks best. Right now, I can see that I don't like this little missed pixel here, so I'll hit Command plus to zoom in even further and use the hand tool to come in. I have my brush selected, and I'll press the left square bracket key to make my brush smaller. I'll zoom in. Well, I can't zoom in anymore. It starts to break apart. So I'll come over here very close to this white pixel, and I'll hold down Option. There. Much better. I see this one here I don't like either. I'll hold down Option. All right. Command 0 to bring her all back on screen. I'll look for any other areas I might have missed. Like here, we've got some hair. Hold down the Option. Well, in this case, I'll make the brush bigger by hitting the square right bracket. Hold down Option to subtract from the selection and paint over the hair I want to disappear. We have some more here. Oops. Make sure you hold down Option. Always Command Z if you need to undo anything. There. What I'm doing here is clicking and dragging my brush along this edge. That looks pretty good. Command 0 to bring it all back on screen. I'm going to save this file to make sure I keep my changes. So I'll choose File, Save As, accept the selection, and call this 006 working. Okay. Now once you select the mask again, and we're back. Now that we have our mask the way we like it, we've brushed out everything, all of the details we wanted to get in there, we'll look at the output settings for this mask. Here we'll choose decontaminate colors to eliminate any of those stray blue pixels from along the edges. Let's zoom in and we'll see what decontaminate colors does. So I hit Command plus and hold down my space bar to move over here. Here we have decontaminate colors at 100%. I uncheck that and we see how that sort of fringe appears. So 100% might be too sharp. Let's take this down some. 25%. Very subtle change, and we'll leave it there. And now we will output this to a new layer with the layer mask on it. You can also output these selections in a variety of other ways, even into a new document. New layer with layer mask is generally the one that I always use. It seems to be the most helpful by leaving your original layer alone and creating a new layer with a layer mask that you can then continue to manipulate. I'll click OK. And now we have a new layer model copy with this mask that we've created. I'll choose Command 0, and there we have her. We've gone from this to this. I'll zoom in again and we can look at the edges. As I scroll around, you can see how well this has been cut out, especially around the hair up here and behind her head. Command 0 again. So that's how you use select and mask to make really precise selections and separate your subjects from backgrounds. Go ahead and experiment with all of that. It's pretty fun to put people in different places. Have fun with it. Thanks for watching.